Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Give me a minute to bring the game back. 1 minute. There's the A game. I gotta resize it. 1 second. This is what I get for reusing stuff all the time. Boom. We're back in business. And I didn't turn that light off because... yeah. 1 second. Ta-da! Okay. So, we are back today with some fruit of Grisaia, if we cannot tell. It's been too long since we played this, after my big long stretch of just doing a bunch of Digimon. Yeah, I was really into Digimon there for like a good 2 weeks almost. But anyway, we are continuing on. And continuing down Makina's route. What happened last time? Well, kind of more of the same. Just a lot of funny goof stuff, like, oh boy. Saji being like a super dom maid and forcing Michiru to drink a citrus powder mixed with citrus. Don't ask. That happened. Also, we taught Makina how to ride a bike. So that was fun. So far, everything is going well. I don't know how long this is gonna last, though, because it's Grisaia. Things are gonna take a sharp turn for the bad, like, any minute now. That's just, you know, how this game has been. How it always goes. So, I am going to load her up. Continue on from where we are, because I think I just kind of more or less abruptly stopped. I just wasn't feeling it anymore. Yeah, it's been a little while. So yeah, we're just going to continue on. And see where it takes us. Hopefully nowhere bad right away. Hopefully not any sex jokes immediately, because, oh, this game is, you know, been like 10 for 10 on that so far. Every time I fire it up, it's like immediately bring out the sex. Alright. Load him up. And here we go. Alright, we left off with them, for some reason, she's saluting. Yeah, she's saluting for some reason. How do I see the history again? No, that's not it. Options, tab, okay. I'm gonna try to get, you know, some context. Oh yeah, maintain. If you're gonna go on the road, he's like trying to saying if you want to keep yourself alive, have a healthy fear of things around you that can kill you. Don't get too comfortable with things, more or less. Because once you get too comfortable, you put your guard down, and then, well, you're done like dinner. So then she just kind of did a... I didn't mean to do that. Damn it, sometimes this game. I'll just read the last 3 things here. We can just continue on. Originally, this salute was something Makina started as part of some make-believe soldier game, but the gesture was so painfully sloppy that I couldn't stop myself from dressing her down on her poor form. Apparently, she took my remonstrations to heart. The angle of her right arm is sharp, and she's tightly clenching her free hand at her side. Not entirely orthodox, but she's got spirit. Well, then the girl's probably hungry. Probably about time for breakfast. But just as I'm glancing at my watch, a fluting call fills the air. Oh, the cuckoo! That's right, there's a cuckoo bird. Ah, that's a cuckoo. He was singing yesterday morning, too. A cuck... hold on. No, just not a tab. A tab is over here. Yeah, God, it's written so weird nowadays. It looks so weird, especially if you're on the internet enough. It looks like it literally says cuckoo. Yes, the cuckoo bird. Oh yeah, cuckoos are kind of assholes too. Especially when it comes to laying their eggs. They'll go to another bird's nest and lay their eggs there. Sometimes knocking other eggs out of the nest. And then having another bird take care of them. Guess what? They're cuckoos are pretty big compared to other birds they usually lay their eggs in. Yet the mother bird doesn't seem to notice and just kind of like accepts that I have a giant fucking bird child. Also super selfish. They will continue to, you know, take food as much as it can. I think even the baby cuckoo will knock other birds out of the nest. Impressed, you know that? Yeah, cuckoos lay their eggs in nests of other birds, like the shriek or reed warbler. Since this one's been around 2 days in a row, there's probably a nest around here. Squinting, I carefully look over the area the bird's song coming from. The search proves slightly easier this time around. There it is. Look at the 18th tree, counting from the storehouse on the left. It's up in the branches. Can you see it? Don't get too close or it'll fly off. There, see? In the branches of that tree on the left. Why can't you see it? The bird's huge. Is Makina like farsighted or something? Or near? What is the term? Like you can't see long distances? I gotta look that up right now, just because I don't know. What is farsighted? My God, my phone kind of is ass. Okay, so she's nearsighted. She's probably nearsighted then. She can't really see anything too far away. Closer to gray than black, I'd say. Orange eyes and feet, though. Okay. Yeah, she's definitely nearsighted then. Well, I've got pretty good long-distance vision, thanks to my job. Alright, wait here. I'll bring you something nice. I'll be back soon. Don't run around and scare the cuckoo off, though. Alright? I jog back to the dorm, then drag out the rucksack containing all my earthly possessions from the back of my closet. I know it's a little pathetic to admit this myself, but there's a hell of a lot of useless junk in this thing. The container I finally retrieved from the very bottom of the bag just looks like a tackle box at a glance. But instead of lures, it's packed full of old tools I no longer actively use in the field. An assortment of Allen wrenches in all sizes, a short-handed stubby driver, an old Palm PC with a monochrome screen, a GPS that's grown unusably inaccurate. Sifting through it all, I finally spot a small black case. There it is. I retrieve the case, open the 2 sliding clasps holding it closed, and flip open the lid. In the middle of a cushioning bed of foam, there's a long tube glazed to a dull, non-reflective black. Yeah, okay, glazed to a dull, non-reflective black, okay. Specifically, it's a Leopold Mark M3? Or MKM3? Huh. A sight my master bought for me as a toy one Christmas. Oh, lovely. She bought him like a sniper scope? I'm equipped with nicer optics these days, so I haven't used the thing in years. But I never got around to throwing it out. I remove the lens cap and try peering inside. The wire reticle doesn't seem to have been jolted off center. Sliding it back into the case, I take the whole package under my arm and head back to the courtyard, where Makina's waiting. Sorry for the wait. Okay. Kuko still singing? Or Kuku? Why did I say Kuko? I fucking combined Kuko and me saying Kuko into... I don't know anymore. I had to say it. Now I'm gonna be fucking up all the time. It's a cuckoo bird. Cuckoo, not cuckoo bird, not a cuckoo bird. Oh my god. You can tell I didn't sleep well. Just want to get this from my room. Well, a little telescope, basically. I deftly snap open the case and retrieve the scope. Remove the lens cap, and place the long, cool tube in Makina's hand. The thing is made of metal and glass, so it's pretty heavy. But don't drop it, alright? Reasons? I'm an amateur bird watcher. Forget that. Just take a look already. Just as instructed, Makina presses the black tube to her right eye with both hands, but... Are you looking the wrong way? Ah. You got your eye too close to the lens. Well, let me see it for a second. After retrieving the scope from Makina, I attach a rubber eye cup to the appropriate end of the tube. While I'm at it, I also twist the zoom ring, decreasing the magnification somewhat. How's this? Try using your left eye to look for its general position, while your right eye looks through the scope. Try turning the dial on the back of the tube. You can change the magnification so he'll look even bigger. Makina, what happened to your language? Oh my god, she really is a child. bird's getting nervous because you're making so much noise.
かっこ泣かないね。静かにしてれば泣く？
Well, as long as we stay this far away, I think he'll start again sooner or later.
興奮冷めやらぬといったところだけれど、しばし静かに格好観察としゃれ込みますか。
Yeah, you do that. Observing things you don't normally get the chance to see is definitely enjoyable. I always liked watching birds as well. When I was living alone with my master in the mountains, we'd see turtle doves and bulbuls every day. And even after I started my current job, I'd usually get the chance to watch birds during long standby periods in the field. And then again, there was that one time I had to spend 2 weeks on standby on an uninhabited southern island. It was a small, windswept piece of stone, barren of trees and devoid of birds. After finishing all the books I'd brought with me, I didn't have a thing to do other than sit on the rocks by the shore and watch the tropical fish below. At first, I thought a completely solitary job would suit an introvert like me just fine, but I still remember the painful stab of depression I felt after realizing I hadn't spoken a single word in over a week. Eek. Yep, that's screwy. Solitude and boredom are pretty difficult things for human beings to endure, I guess. Especially in combination.
ねえ、パパ。
Hmm? What?
カッコは悪い鳥なのかな？
What makes you ask?
だってタクランってもともとその巣にあった卵を落としちゃうんだよ。そんで自分の本当の子じゃないのに親鳥はカッコウのヒナのために一生懸命に餌をあげるんだよ。どうして？
Do you feel like a cuckoo bird, Makina? How you're making your new dad work hard, even though you're not really his kid? Is that what you're trying? Are you trying to do a roundabout way of saying, am I a bad person? Well, probably because they don't realize it's not their child. Or even if they're vaguely aware, when the thing opens its mouth and goes cheep cheep, they just can't help feeding it.
それってずるいよね。
Unfair might be one way to put it, yeah. But that's just their strategy as a species. If the cuckoos played fair, they wouldn't be here today.
人に迷惑をかけなきゃ生きられないなら絶滅すればいいのよさ。そうまでして生き延びたカッコウに何の意味があるの？
Oh shit, we're already deep. Tricky question. Yes, they gain as a species by causing others harm, but that's not exactly rare in nature. And there are cases where the other bird notices the switch and rejects the newly hatched cuckoo. It's not like they can be sure everything will go smoothly. The cuckoo's strategy has its own risks. So, when a chick manages to find itself some good foster parents, it should accept its good fortune happily. Rest assured. Even if I'm a warbler and you're a cuckoo, I'll take good care of you until the day you can leave the nest with confidence. He fucking caught on. He caught on big time. That's what she was trying to hint at. Okay, yeah. Yuji is actually pretty good at reading people. For the most part. Like this kind of thing. He can read them, which is good. He knew what she was kind of hinting at.
ごめんね、パパ。
Don't be. The cuckoo may be a parasite, but our relationship is symbiotic. Your presence doesn't cause me any harm. Hell, sometimes it's beneficial.
例えば
Again with the tricky questions. There's a number of advantages to having you around, but I doubt you'd really understand if I tried to explain. If I had to try and wrap it up in one phrase anyway, I find you cute, I suppose.
私可愛いふりをしてるだけかもしんないのよ。
Please don't tell me you've been mangling the Japanese language all this time out of some misguided attempt to be cutesy. You're badly overrating your talent as an actress. Saying that and nothing more, Makina silently continues peering through the scope. It's pretty clear that the girl started comparing the cuckoo's evolutionary strategy to her own way of life, and concluding that asking me to become her father might have been unfair on her part. But in the first place, Makina entrusted me with a full 70 million yen in compensation for this job. Doesn't exactly qualify as a parasitic relationship. That said, I completely understand the anxiety Makina's feeling right now. I myself went through something very similar after my master adopted me. I asked her many times why she'd bothered to take in a worthless, incompetent brat like me. And every time, my master gave me the same answer. You need to get over this idea that you can't do anything, kid. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The way you look at things makes a hell of a lot more difference than you realize. Listen up. From now on, tell yourself this instead. I can't do everything well, but there's nothing I can't do at all. Got that? And in the end, it didn't prove that difficult to find something I wasn't so useless at. Something that gave me a kind of worth. If I hadn't met my master, I probably would have gone my whole life without discovering that.
それでも
Hmm?
それでもやっぱし私あの鳥嫌い。パパ知ってる？
Huh?
カッコウってね、よその巣に卵を産んだ後、また他のカッコウが来て同じ巣にもう一個卵を産んじゃうこともあるんだって。そうするとね、一つの巣に二つのカッコウのヒナが帰るでしょ。一つの巣にカッコウのヒナは2匹いらないから、カッコウのヒナ同士で巣からの落とし合いが始まるんだって。
Where are you going with this?
なんかもうとことん生臭い鳥なのよさ。
That's nature. Nature is not fair. Right there. Well, nature is fundamentally cruel.
うるせー！泣いてんじゃねー！
weren't you waiting for it to sing?
なんかあいつの顔見てたらだんだんムカついてきたのよさ。カッコウってのはあれか？焼いて食ったらうまいのか？
You can make almost any meat reasonably edible with enough curry to flavor it, but... Can't say I've ever experimented with cuckoos. I'm not much of a carnivore in the first place, you know? The bird does sort of resemble a pigeon. Could sort of picture someone in France or China stuffing cheese into its stomach and then cooking it in an oven, but... Yeah, let's just make some squab. Yeah, just grab a cuckoo and make some squab. Well, I'll admit that I'm not exactly knowledgeable in culinary affairs. I haven't heard of any cuckoo eating customs in this country. Try to forgive them, why don't you? Cuckoos have their reasons. just because he's a parasite doesn't mean he's a jerk.
まあパパがそう言うなら許すけど育児放棄を感化するわけじゃないのよ。
Okay. I see what's going on here. Yeah. Amane and I are here for you, right? Don't get so fired up. I drop a hand onto Makina's head and give it a few thumps. The girl responds with a grumbling half-growl, but appears mollified for the moment. The fuck? An idiotic electronic squawk cuts into the conversation, wiping out any remaining fragment of tension. Makina quickly retrieves her egg-shaped digital pet from its usual place around her waist. Oh, okay.
こいつはいけねえや。明日バイトに行かなきゃいけねえ時間ですぜ、旦那。
Oh, okay. Oh, she's got her job. She's got her bakery job. That's right. Are you supposed to be a Tokyo kid now? It's currently 7:30 by my watch. I'm pretty sure Makina was scheduled for her first shift at the bakery starting at 8 this morning.
そんじゃ私ちょっくらバイト行ってくるのよさ。
Very well. Obey your orders faithfully and uphold the honor of your shop. Devote your days to the pursuit of baking excellence.
レンジャー。
Ah! Hold on, you! Get off that bike! I don't remember giving out your moss yet.
へえ。
Don't give me that. It's too early for you to be riding on the street alone. For today, head to your destination on foot while imagining yourself following the same route on bicycle. Stay alert and practice maintaining situational awareness. Understood?
なんかバカバカしいのよさ。
What kind of attitude is that? Approach your drills as if they were real combat. Also, don't casually wander off with my scope in your hand.
ち、バレたか。
Is this how it went with Amane's boots too? You're hopeless. I don't mind letting you have the thing if you like it, but you're not gonna need it at the bakery. Leave it behind.
うーい。そんじゃ行ってきまーす。
Indeed. Do us proud out there. After entrusting me with the mini velo and her new scope, Makina dashes off toward the front gate, imitating the ting-ting of a bicycle bell with her mouth. Looks like she's managed to get herself into the scenario. And so, I sent Makina off in what I felt was a suitably vigorous and encouraging manner. However, this opinion was not universally shared.
もう行かせちゃったの？それも一人で？
I should probably go without saying at this point, the objector was Suo Amane. Yeah, God, these two really are like a married couple, even when they're not on a route. I fail to see the problem here. When the designated time arrives, you head into the field. That's what a job is. Watching as I dig into my breakfast of cold pasta with tomato and basil sauce, Amane contorts her face with an exaggerated display of sadness.
かわいそうにマキナ。朝ごはんも食べずに出かけるなんてお腹空いてるだろうに。
Oh my god. Well, we stopped by a convenience store on the road this morning, and she gobbled down a bagel and egg sandwich with a bottle of milk. I doubt she's starving.
ちょっとあんた、またマキナに買い食いさせたの？
It's not a snack if it's the only meal she's had so far today. I mean, the girl said she was so hungry she couldn't move.
何それ、激ヤマじゃない。欲しがるたびに好きなもの与えてたら、あの子まん丸になっちゃうよ。
So you say, Amane. It's not like you want to see her groaning with hunger yourself.
そりゃまあね、あの子にお腹空いたって言われると、私もついいろんなもの与えちゃうけど。
Mm-hmm. And what Yuji did was any different? Hmm?
でもちゃんとカロリー計算して、
Oh my god.
太らないようなものを与えてるんです。
Yeah, my bad. That's why I'm heroically eating her share of the breakfast you made. See?
全然言い訳になってないんですけど。
Now that you mention it. Matter of fact, eating outside often makes me realize just how good the stuff Amane makes really is. The pasta I'm working on right now is pretty simple stuff, but I have to admit it's delicious. You really can make anything taste good, Amane.
そんなこと言ったって騙されないんですよーだ。
Okay, so he's got to do a lot of flattery? Yeah, it might not be worth much coming from a man with notoriously dull taste buds, but I was being completely sincere.
わかったわよ。もうわかったから、今朝マキナが何を食べたかちゃんと教えなさいよ。
A bagel and egg sandwich with a thing of milk. He just said that. Like I said, an egg sandwich, a bagel, and a bottle of milk.
ベーグルはハムとチーズのやつ？
Good guess.
マキナはハムもチーズも大好きだし、噛み応えのあるパンも大好きだしね。卵サンドは普通の三角のやつ？
I said it before, I'll say it again. I absolutely love the fucking sandwiches from the convenience stores in Japan. Me and that Lawson's got very intimate when it came to those sandwiches, those pre-packed, pre-made sandwiches. My god. They're so good. And there are so many varieties. Tuna, egg salad, chicken, some teriyaki was in there at one point. An egg sandwich, but they were soft-boiled. These ones were scrambled. Oh. That's one of the things I miss from Japan, was just the Lawson's convenience store sandwiches. I had so many of those. So many. Relatively cheap. You get a lot of them. So good. Even the big meal I got, like the actual pre-made meal I got from 7-Eleven was just as good. They even heated it up for me in their microwave. That's the thing they do. They will heat up those pre-made meals for you, and you can just take it to go. Luckily, we were literally like 5 minutes away from a convenience store, which was so handy. Our freaking, our apartment we had was so good. So close by. 5 minutes from a convenience store, the train station, a pharmacy. We were set. We were absolutely set. And then everywhere we wanted to go, we more or less just had to get on one train. Which was even better. It was like, we got on one train, a few stops later, we'd be at a movie theater. And we did see 2 movies while we were there. I also went there just for the arcade, like at least once on my own. Oh, it's too good. Absolutely. I really miss Japan. I have to go back at some point. I gotta go back and do it again. But that's It's probably gonna be in the far future. I don't think we'll ever get as good of a deal as we did last time. I don't know how we got that good of a fucking deal to go to Japan for flight there, flight back, and our, and the apartment we stayed in for 2 weeks. Somehow got it for less than $2,000 a person. I don't know how we did it. I don't know what fucking magic my friends were able to do to find that deal. It was a damn good deal. Also, I learned on that trip that my phone at the time could not connect to 5G networks. The room actually came with portable Wi-Fi. You could set it to either, 5G or, like basically 3G or whatever. Anytime we tried to did the 5G, my phone would not connect. My old phone. So for the first little bit, I was running off of some random Wi-Fi in the neighborhood I was able to connect to until that disappeared. And then I went through almost all of my data for the few times I did try to connect, and then when we figured out that was the problems, like, oh, phone just can't connect to 5G. Alright, we just won't use the 5G anymore. It was interesting, I'd say. Very, very interesting learning that stuff. Now I do have a phone that connects to 5G. Does it matter? Not really. Because now the internet on the phone is actually just very slow and crappy, and now the data is actually, like, damn near useless. I don't know what the hell's going on. Probably after the move is all set and finalized, set I'm up there, we're nice and good. I'll probably just get myself a new phone. In general. So, I mean, this one's decent, but if I can get a new phone that might be better and still have a similar monthly payments on it, cool. But that's something to worry about later. That's something to worry about a little later. That's right. The milk was a 200 milliliter bottle. Don't remember the brand, but there was something about packed full of calcium on the label.
成分調整牛乳ね。200ml で約120キロカロリーとして、ベーグルが200キロカロリー、卵サンドが300キロカロリーと考えると、620キロか。卵サンドがでかいな。
It should be fine. She was on the bicycle for a good hour, burning that off.
まあね。それに朝はいくら食べても平気なのよね、割と。
Let's just not make a habit out of it.
でも、その分夜食べる量を少し減らさなきゃ。具体的には200キロカロリーほど。
You're seriously diligent.
自分の食事のカロリー計算のついでだから別に面倒じゃないし。それに、これ以上太って可愛い服着れなくなったらかわいそうじゃん？
Oh my god.
ちなみに、あんたに出してる食事は1日だいたい2200キロカロリー以内にまとめてるよ。
What, you're planning out my diet as well?
だってあんたの普段の食事見てたらなんか1500キロカロリーぐらいしか取ってないんだもの。それじゃ痩せちゃうよ。
Wait, is this why you're constantly feeding me pumpkin?
かぼちゃを舐めるなよ。かぼちゃは栄養の塊。まさに無敵の健康食品。かぼちゃがあれば10年は戦える。あれはいいものです。
Alright, there we go, guys. You want something that's, I guess, nourishing and packed full of calories? Pumpkin. Go with a pumpkin. Pumpkin is the ultimate health food, apparently. Are pumpkins really that amazing?
ちなみに私のこの体型はかぼちゃダイエットのおかげで維持できてるんだよ。
Huh.
ビタミンたっぷりでお肌もツヤツヤ、活性酸素も除去してくれるし、体温が上がって基礎代謝が高まるから痩せるし。
Huh.
何より食物繊維が豊富でいいこと尽くし。
Oh, well, that's handy. Sound like a fresh recruit to some pumpkin-themed cult. Well, they do taste good, so whatever.
でしょ。そこで今日のお昼はかぼちゃの冷たいスープを。スオさん、ちょっといいかしら。
Huh?
何？頼まれていたものいくつか調べておいたけど、結局どうするの？ネットで買うの？値段はどうだった？そうね、店頭価格と比べるとおおむね2000円から2500円の値引きね。送料を考えるとトントンか500円から800円のお得ってところかしら。
Ooh, yeah. Do you do that? You're only saving at that point maybe 10. Oh, then again, close to $10 saved, depending on what you're getting. Might be worth it in the end.
微妙だな。
What are you people talking about?
ああ、なんかね、マキナの話を聞いてたら、私もパンが焼いてみたくなって。
Monday's Pumpkin Patch, limited time only. Go for the big ones. Hey Nick, how's it going?
パン焼き器を買おうかと思って、榊さんにネット通販の値段を調べてもらってたの。ボーナス前で新型が発表になる時期だから、一つ前のモデルがぐっと値落ちしてるわ。買うなら今がチャンスだと思うけど。古いのと新しいので値段と性能の差はどれぐらい？そうね、値段の差は8000円から1万6000円。性能についてはほとんど変わらないよね。デザインがちょっと良くなったくらい。
Pretty well, good. Glad to hear.
じゃあ古いモデルでもいいかな。スオさんの欲しがっていたバゲットが焼けるタイプのものは同時に焼ける数に差がある程度で、性能はあまり変わらないものが8000円ほど安い値段で売っているわ。
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
ネットのストアオークションで見ると同じものが1万6000円安い値段でスタートしてる。でもそれって結局値段は上がっちゃうんでしょ？
Yeah, auctions are auctions. They could go anywhere.
希望即決価格に設定されている値段を見ると、よそより1円安く出品されているから、よそで買うより高くなるということはないわ。ただ注意しないと送料が別途かかるケースがあるけど、今回見ているストアは送料が無料のようね。
That's handy. Assuming the price will probably end up somewhere in the middle, that's still 8,000 cheaper than buying it in a store. You're surprisingly good at this sort of thing for a rich girl, Sakaki.
私としては経済に精通していると受け取ってもらいたいところなの。
Well versed in economics. Sure, let's go with that. I see. You got a good nose for money, Sakaki.
なんだか微妙な言い方ね。別に構わないけれど。それにしても8000円の差額か。どうしよう。頑張れば値切れない数字じゃないのよね。
But do you want to try to put the effort in to maybe get that? Or you just want to go with this buy it now? Get like a guaranteed 8,000 yen savings.
素直にネットで買うか、それとも店頭で形地放り出すか悩むわ。普通にネットで買ったらどう？クレジットカードは持っているのでしょ？まあそれでもいいんだけど、やっぱり商店街の電気屋さんで買おうかと思って。
Ah, okay.
確かに現物を手にして買う方が安心感はあると思うけど、今時はネット通販もほとんどノートラブルが普通よ。
Indeed it does.
そういうことじゃなくて、お店で買えば機械が調子悪かったりうっかり壊しちゃった時でもすぐに対応してくれるでしょ。
That too.
多少高くてもお店で買うメリットってそういう部分だと思うし、そういうサービスを買うことだと思うのね。
Very true. Very, very, very true. That's actually some good logic.
それに前にスチームオーブンを買った時に次何か買う時もここで買うからって言って値切っちゃった手前よそで買うのも気が引けるしね
There you go. You can also go back mention the fact that yeah, I bought the steam oven from you guys a while ago and it's been great. Now I want to get a bread maker. I think maybe you could I don't know, give me a little discount? I am a returning faithful customer after all.
今回はお店で買うよせっかく調べてくれたのにごめんね榊さん私は別にあなたがどこで買おうと構わないし大した手間ではないから気にしないで
But anyway, it sounds like online shopping has come a long way. The world's getting a lot more convenient these days.
今は何でもネットの時代よ確かに便利にはなったけれど通信には障害がつきものだし
Yep.
あまり高級的な手段とも思えないから依存しすぎるとしっぺ返しが大きいのもネットなのよ
Yep. They say that inconvenience is the mother of ingenuity. But I guess that's no reason to avoid the convenient option when it's already there. By the way, can you get anything you want off these online shopping sites?
何でもというと語弊があるけれど合法なものは大抵手に入るし非合法スレスレなものも条件次第ではかなりの確率で買うことができるわね
What are you thinking, Yuji? I see.
何よユージあんたなんか変なもの買おうとしてんじゃないでしょうね
Oh no, I'm just gonna get a Moby Huge. Yeah, just plant it in my room. Everyone's got a Moby Huge, right? God almighty. You don't know what that is. Don't look it up. Unless you want to. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just... Yeah. It's 100% a fucking gag. God, my phone internet is so... It's connected to the same Wi-Fi, but now it takes forever to load anything. Oh, wow, it's actually on Amazon.ca. That's not shocking. Oh, it's a review at least for it. Oh, yeah, it's here. There were 8 ratings. Oh my god, $1,300 Canadian for a Moby Huge. Oh my fucking god. Okay, I gotta look at these reviews real quick. I'm sorry. Really detracting here. 3-star review. Found it to be a little small, otherwise very satisfying. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh my god. Someone's fucking review is just good. Oh my god. What the fucking... Okay, enough about the Moby Huge. The 3-foot-long, 3-foot-long adult toy. Yeah. Reason is Moby Huge. No. I was thinking I'd buy Makina a little toy, but it's not exactly urgent. I was just a little curious.
おもちゃならあの子もういっぱい持ってるわよあんまり気軽に変なもの買い与えないでよねこれ以上私の部屋にガラクタを持ち込まれたら寝る場所がなくなっちゃう
Duly noted.
それにしてもマキナちゃんとアルバイトやってるのかなパン屋のご主人には何かあったらすぐに連絡してくれるように伝えてはあるのでしょ連絡がないということは何も問題はないということよそれはそうなんだけど
Worrying isn't gonna change anything at this point. What will be, will be.
どうしてそんなに落ち着いていられるのよ。心配じゃないの？
Not in the least, actually. Why?
だってあの子、知らない人とは喋れないんだよ。
Yeah, I mentioned that as well, but Makina said she's gonna try her best to get over it.
頑張ってもダメな時だってあるでしょうに。
We can cross that bridge when we come to it. Don't worry. I think Makina's gonna handle this just fine.
やっぱ私は待ってるだけなんて無理。後でこっそり様子見に行ってこようかな。
Oh my god.
やめておきなさい。保護も過ぎれば信用されていないとイリスさんのプライドを傷つける結果になるわよ。
そりゃ分かってるけど心配なんだもの。もしバイト中に倒れて寝ちゃってたらどうすんのよ。
Oh my god. I told the owner to knock her awake if that happens, so it shouldn't be a problem. And more importantly, how about you show a little trust in the girl?
あの子のどこをどう信用しろというのか甚だ疑問ではあるけれど、まあおおむねにおいて風見くんの言うことに同意はしておこうかしら。
やっぱ私って過保護なのかな。
Yeah. Way I see it, slightly overprotective is just about right for a mother. The world's got too many parents who can't or won't look out for their kids. Can't hurt to overcompensate a little in the opposite direction. But I think Makina's passivity and fearfulness towards others has been largely the product of her own negative self-image as an incompetent idiot. Over the last few days, I've taught the girl quite a few things, and I've tried to point her towards ways she can develop her potential as a human being. I intend to continue doing so from now on. And although I don't think my actions are the sole cause, recently Makina started to show proactive interest in many different things. She seems almost eager to get her hands dirty. Experimentation begins with the willingness to touch, to explore something new with your own hands. Sometimes you might not like the way it feels in your palm. Sometimes you'll jerk your hand back in pain. Even so, that pain's a new discovery in its own right. A lesson you can't really understand except through experience. Yup. They say infants put everything and anything in their mouths to learn the tastes of poison, but Makina's been raised in the equivalent of a sterile clean room. Now, she's finally beginning to explore the taste of the world through her own. Through her own what? Own free will. Thanks, game. Oh, god fucking damn it. This has happened a few times. It's like, no, there's too many words. I can just see it. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? You guys can just barely see it on your screen. Just barely. Oh my god, the border for window capture that I'm looking through, that I see on my screen, it cuts out the fragments of free will that you guys can see. Son of a bitch! Bravo, Gabe. I won't deny that my declaration of complete confidence was largely a bluff. But I don't think I'm raising a kid who can't figure out the difference between a bitter green pepper and a bottle of arsenic. Jesus. Yeah, he's got a little faith. Soon enough, evening came. Although her first shift at her new job ended some time ago, Makina hasn't returned. Amane, who suffered through the day in a state of constant distracted worry, finally broke down and called the bakery. As it turns out, the girl had left right on time some 30 minutes ago. This prompted Amane to shout, "Schwa?" and attempt a dramatic leap to her feet with the cell phone still pressed to her ear. But unfortunately, the woman had been sitting on the couch with her long hair tucked under her sizable buttocks. As her head snapped backward with a painful yank, Amane let out a long groan of uncertain meaning. Something along the lines of, "Ah." Don't ask what that was. Then turned her impotent anger on the target closest at hand. Yuji. It was Yuji, wasn't it? Yuji was the closest target. I fucking called it. Hey, Yuji! Why didn't you pick up Makina? Get going! What? It's not like I sent the girl off on her first day of kindergarten. Makina's not a child, right? She'll come wandering back on her own eventually. Such were my honest thoughts on the matter. But faced with the sheer irritable fury in Amane's slightly teary eyes as she rubbed her scalp, I couldn't find the courage to voice them. Sighing inwardly, I pushed myself up off my seat. I'm thinking she saw some huge dog. A Great Pyrenees or a Samoyed, something like that. Then latched onto the thing and buried herself in its fur, completely losing track of time. In that scenario, the owner would have to continue walking their dog at some point, meaning Makina should have come back on her own eventually. But depending on how things play out, she might tag along on the rest of the walk, following them all the way home. Eventually ending up in a stranger's living room, snacking on sweet cakes and tea. A disturbingly plausible scenario. Of course, families with big poofy dogs like that tend to be fairly well off, so I doubt she'd be in much danger of a financially motivated crime. But on the other hand, there's no guarantee she won't have run into the clutches of some Sabratic multimillionaire with a twisted interest in childish young bud. Oh, great. My conclusion? It would be best to swiftly track the girl down, have her thank them for the cakes, and then promptly withdraw. I retrieved my private cell phone from my jacket pocket. Of course, we tried calling Makina before anything else, but her cell phone went straight to voicemail every time. Mane and I had been uncertainly pondering our next move when a savior known as Sakaki Yumiko descended from the ceiling on a golden chariot. As saviors go, she might be a bit on the cranky side, but today she brought us tidings of comfort and joy. Apparently, Makina's cell phone was equipped with a remote tracking function in case of loss or theft. We immediately set about tracking the phone's location through its GPS. As it turns out, she was keeping perfectly still in what looked like a corner of the shopping district near the station. After consulting a map, we confirmed the girl wasn't in a residential area, just sitting by the side of a public road. Apparently, my gobbling down cakes in a rich person's house hypothesis was off the mark. So what's she doing? Given this new information, my next thought was that the girl had either dropped her cell phone or simply dozed off on the spot, but seems like it was the latter. Aw, that's adorable. That actually is kind of adorable. She fell asleep after work Makina. Hey, Makina. Wake up. For the time being, I decide not to take the drastic smack upside the head solution to this dilemma, opting for a gentle shake of the shoulder. Makina's head sways a little in response, but there's no sign of her waking up. Worn out from your first day on the job? The thought leaves me a little hesitant to wake the girl up forcibly. For the moment, I decide to contact Amane on my cell.
はい、こちらイリスマキナ捜索本部本部長周防天音。
Oh my god. This is Field Operative Kazumi Yuji. I've discovered and secured the mark.
よかった、マキナ見つかったのね。
Yeah. Little punk's taking a nice nap on the bench in front of the station.
もう起こした？起きそう？
Not really. I tried calling out to her, but the girl seems to be sleeping pretty deeply. I'll wait a little longer, but it shouldn't be a problem either way. If necessary, I'll just carry her back to the dorm.
マキナ、8時から見たいテレビがあるって言ってたから、それまでには連れて帰ってあげて。
Understood. Nothing further to report. I'm ending the call.
お疲れ様。
Alright then. Hey, Makina. Can you wake up for me? Yeah, this is absolutely adorable. All tuckered out from her first day at work. Once again, I give Makina's shoulder a shake while calling out quietly. She does respond in the form of a dopey little grunt. It doesn't seem to have brought her any closer to regaining consciousness. Guess I'll have to carry her back. The girl's not exactly heavy. Shouldn't be much of an issue. I glance at my watch. We've still got nearly 2 hours left until 8. And I doubt it'll take longer than 30 minutes to get back to the dorm, even if I'm carrying her on my back. More than enough time. Seriously. Could you be any more defenseless? Considering the girl was kidnapped as a child, she's surprisingly incautious. Then again, there's not really much danger in a public street with heavy pedestrian traffic. At worst, you might have a wallet or bag stolen while you sleep. But in modern Japan, even that sort of petty crime isn't very common. This really is a peaceful country. But on the other hand, the apathy of the passerby, who doesn't even bother to wake up a little girl dozing off in the sun, is also very typically Japanese. In any case, I can't just let the girl sleep here forever. For one thing, the longer we stay like this, the higher the odds of someone reporting some shady-looking degenerate trying to cop a feel of a sleeping kid to our friendly neighborhood police station. Oh my god. I should really either be waking her up immediately or getting her on my back and beating a prompt retreat, but... Watching Makina draw soft, regular breaths, I can't help wanting to just let her be. I know this might sound a little strange, but I don't dislike watching women sleep. Okay, bro, that's just weird, watching anybody sleep. That's just weird. Doesn't matter if it's a ridiculously powerful and crudely masculine woman, or a shaggy-headed blonde who spends every waking moment carping like she's your damn mother. So his master and JB. And their eyes are closed and their mouth is shut, They're cute. Same goes for Makina, it seems. Normally, watching the girl just makes you wonder if she's burned out a couple 100,000 synapses in her brain. But when sleeping quietly like this, she's genuinely adorable.
やべ
She's awake!
出た
You awake, Makina?
あれパパなんでパパがいるの
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be home half hour ago. It's now an hour. What's the problem? You're really taking your time getting back, so I came to pick you up.
そっかごめんねなんか私お仕事終わったら急に眠くなっちゃって
Sorry, headphones are dying. I heard the beeping. Dang it. Go to sleep 5 more minutes. I'm missing a Sharpie. I drew whiskers on your face! What? God, SAO Bridge was too good. But your camera switch face, I thought it was funny, and it was. Is that all? Yeah, you were asleep. What else was I supposed gonna do? I'll say this right now, if you've not watched Sword Art Online Abridged, please do so. It is genuinely fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. They do such good work with that. Sword Art Online is a guilty pleasure of mine, by the way. When you really look at it, it's not that great. SAO Abridged made it great. They take the obvious plot holes and crap and give very, very good reasons for them, and I love it for it. Like, oh my god. It is too good. Too good. There's a reason it usually takes them about a year to release an episode. I thought both the OG show and Bridge were both great. OG Sword Art Online, I feel like it starts falling off once they did get to Alfheim. That's where things kind of started taking a downward slope. Hey, Gardantor, how you doing? First half of the OG is okay? Yeah. It starts out alright. Again, Alfheim, I think, is when it starts taking a drop. It kind of goes up a little bit in SAO2 with Gungale, but then after that, it just starts going down again. Picks up again with when you're not focusing on Kirito. Shock of shocks, if we don't focus on the main character of the series, it somehow got a little better. I have not watched anything from Alicization, though, so I can't say what happens there. But I'm just going off of SAO and SAO2. But Abridged is just like, holy hell, this is like one of those holy grails of Abridged series. Just too good. Like, oh my god, I love it so much. I now have to check, have they released a new episode yet? It's easily been about a year. Probably not, though. Let's see, something witty. They have not. It has in fact been about it has been probably over a year at this point. Let me just open the video real quick so I can see when it was last posted. Oh, January 14th was when the last episode came out, so alright. Yeah, they're within the range of about a year until a new one is eventually released. Please soon, please soon. I love it so much. That's why I say SAO is a guilty pleasure. It's definitely not the greatest. It's alright. To me, though. But I'll still watch it. I still watch it. It was enjoyable enough. Ah, man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Makina fell asleep in game, and here I am yawning again. Trying to keep my eyes open. I can't have a nap. I can't go to sleep. I gotta go out in a few hours. I'm meeting up with some friends. We doing some fun shit. Game. There we go. Makina opens her mouth wide and lets out a high-pitched, vaguely feline yawn. Worn out from your first day on the job?
なんかね、初めてのことばっかりで覚えるのが大変でね。でもすっごく楽しかったのよ。
That's good to hear. Think you'll stick with it? Though I've been making a conscious effort to trust Makina, I was pretty worried deep down. But from the way she's talking, it sounds like she was able to concentrate on the job.
私ね、パン屋さんの仕事好きかも。いろんなパンがあって、いろんなお客さんが来て。今日ね、いろんな人といろんなお話をしたのよ。
What sort of people did you meet?
いっぱいいたよ。普通の OL さんとか、子供を連れたお母さんとか、それにフィリピンのお姉さんとか、中国とか台湾のお姉さんとか。
Okay. Sounds like you met quite the Pan-Asian clientele in there.
なんかね、店長に聞いたら、外国の人はスーパーとかで買い物しにくいんだって。だから個人商店に来るんだって。
Yeah, we had a supermarket near us. We initially planned to go there at one point to at least make one meal. We never did. We relied solely on the convenience store. It was just easier. You know how hard it was for me to get some Tylenol when I was there? Because I just had a horrible headache and needed something? I went to that pharmacy that was there that I was able to just buy whatever. Oh lord. That took a little longer than it probably needed to. Oh, I got through it. I first said, Tylenol. I was just saying that kind of stuff. You know, Tylenol, you have that. Acetaminophen. That kind of. I was like saying whatever words I could think of. I tried brand names. I tried the actual term. Then I just kind of pointed to my head. And they did get me something. Because none of the labels on any of the stuff I recognized at all. I got Bufferin. Yeah. They pointed me to Bufferin. Not Buffering. Bufferin. Alright, what the hell is in Bufferin? No, shit. Yeah, I got some, like, good shit, apparently. Bufferin. What is in it? Combination of aspirin and an antacid. Is used to reduce fever, relieve mild to moderate pain from conditions such as muscle aches, toothaches, common cold, headaches. Also used to reduce pain and swelling conditions such as arthritis. It has anti-inflammatory. I think on the thing when I looked it up too, it also said there's like, oh yeah, there's like caffeine in there as well. It's just ibuprofen, I think. Essentially. But I even said ibuprofen and they didn't understand what I was meaning. Well, they pointed me to Buffer and it's like, okay, it's like, alright, cool, I'll take it. Kind of looked it up, at least from there. It's like, okay, it's like some like super fucking pills or something. Even when I brought it home, my old mother was like, okay, this is actually some good stuff. It's like, oh. Alright. So yeah, actually apparently got some good stuff up there. Hey. It got me through the rest of the time I was there. I only ended up taking like 1 or 2 pills out of a blister package of, I think it was close to maybe 30 to 60 pills. It was a lot. There was a lot in there. I was like, there's no fucking way I was going to use all of this stuff before we were gone. There was just literally not enough time. So I brought it home. I think we're finally through it all. I'm possibly. And again, that was, you know, like 4 years ago. It's been 4 years since I've been to Japan. I must go back. I must go back to Japan at some point. That's a goal. That's a life goal. Go back to Japan go again. Enjoy everything. You don't say. Come to think of it, this foreigner I knew once told me something. A while ago, the tabloids and news shows made a habit of constantly reporting on organized crime activity perpetrated by a small number of illegal immigrant workers. Holy hell. As a result, people got this fixed idea about groups of foreign shoplifters roaming the supermarkets, and anyone who doesn't look Japanese enough still gets the stink eye. Thanks, Nick. That was sneezing. I hold my sneezes in. I know it's a bad thing, but I generally hold my sneezes in. That's just what I've done for years. And not, you know, no, I'm not gonna stop saying years. Decades. It's what I've been doing for decades. I actually can say that now. Can make your weekly shopping trip feel really unpleasant.
ねえねえ、お仕事いっぱい頑張ったからって店長さんにメロンパンいっぱいもらったのよさ。
The paper sack Makina's clutching in her arms is packed full of pastries. Judging from the intense sweet fragrance wafting from the buns, they're still hot from the oven. It sounded more of a cough. That's why I added the question. Most people let it out or sneeze onto a sleeve. Yeah, I hold it in and I'll actually just kind of hold my nose. That's just what I do. That's just how I've always done it. It's weird. Weird as hell, but that's just me. I am weird. I mean, look at the games I play. Look at the voices I make. The things I do. I'm weird.
お腹が空いたから帰りに食べようかと思ったんだけどね。どうせならみんなで食べようと思って。パパとかアマネとかユミちゃんにチルチルにサッチンにチズチズ。いつもお世話になってる人にね。
That's adorable.
いつもありがとうってメロンパン食べてって言おうと思って。
I like how she even included Chizuru in that.
でも帰る途中でどうしても眠くなっちゃって寝ちゃった。私ね、いつもみんなにはありがとうって感謝してるのよ。でもその気持ちをどう伝えていいのかわかんなくて。でもね、今日それが分かった気がするのよさ。一生懸命頑張ってこれが私の頑張った結果なんだよってメロンパンを食べてもらえば
Oh,
きっと気持
fuck,
ち
this is
伝わ
cute.
るよね。
This is cute.
お礼の気持ちって感謝の気持ちってきっとこういうことなんだろうなって初めて分かった気がするのね。それがね、今日一番嬉しかったこと。
I see. You did good, Makina. I'm sure they'll be happy. Like always, I drop a hand onto Makina's head and scratch vigorously, only to discover that her hair is moist with perspiration. Although it's gotten a little cooler now that the sun's sinking, napping outside on a summer day probably had something to do with it. But when I think of it as sweat the girl shed in her labors, for some reason there's a tight feeling in my chest. She really did do her best. As the thought runs through my mind with a new ring of conviction, I look down to find Makina's head nodding back and forth unsteadily.
なめらすごい眠いのよ。
That's alright. You can sleep. But can you get on my back first? I'll carry you to the dorm.
ありがとうパパ。
That's absolutely adorable. As the street fills with the pinkish glow of sunset and the cries of cicadas, I take the bag of melon buns from Makina's hands, then help her onto my back. Her body's small, light, and ridiculously warm as well. As always. Not as well, as always. Blech, words. I can already feel my back growing damp with sweat. The girl's fast asleep before I can take a single step. She breathes through her nose steadily and quietly, every exhalation tickling the nape of my neck. This habit of dozing off anywhere and anytime is, as Amane puts it, probably a mild case of narcolepsy. That's not anything that's unusual for me, since my big sister was just an abrupt sleeper. I think Makina is fundamentally pretty similar to her in this respect, actually. My sister's brain ran on a higher octane fuel than most people's, but the mileage wasn't great. Sometimes she'd sleep more than 12 hours in a single day. Damn, I wish I could sleep 12 hours. And other times, I'd look over after a brief pause in a conversation to find she'd nodded off, after which she'd wake up only a minute or two later. The only major point of difference is that she would nod off at fixed times every day. Makina is a lot less predictable, requiring much more careful attention. Anyway, from what my sister told me when I was young, the heavy sleeping was necessary so that her unconscious mind could process the large amounts of information she absorbed while awake. In other words, nothing to get too worried about. Whoops. Shifting the melon buns to a precarious one-arm grip, I reach around to halt Makina's limp slide down my back. Oh, halt Makina's limp slide. Cannot read, comprehend. Reading comprehension. Think. After pushing her firmly onto my shoulders, I resume my slow, gentle walk back to the dorm. Careful not to wake my passenger. Oh my god, they couldn't even fit passenger in there? Come on, game. Killing me. When I return to the dorm, Makina still clinging to my back, Amane comes out to meet us with undistinguished relief on her face. And for some reason, all of our other classmates are waiting in the lobby as well. Michiru, a vaguely crabby expression on her face, peers over my shoulder and Makina asks, "So she fell asleep after all?" in a sarcastic tone. Then proceeds to poke at the girl's flabby little cheeks, mumble, "What a hopeless kid," and break into a smile. As for Sachi, she begins by offering me a polite bow and thanks for my efforts, then carefully removes Makina's boots one at a time and puts them away in the shoe rack at the side of the door. In their place, she takes Makina's favorite pair of slippers, the so-called Terrible Twins, decorated with the snarling faces of two stuffed animal tigers, and slides them onto her feet. However, since the girl is still laying limp against my back, they flop right off and fall to the ground. Sachi picks them up and puts them back on. Not that it works any better the second or third time. Clumsily earnest, as always. Maybe someday she'll figure out that brute force repetition doesn't compensate for a lack of strategy. Lastly, there's Sakaki, her initially convincing show of indifference belied by a momentary glance away from the paperback in her hand. Once her eyes find Makina sleeping on my back, she snorts softly and returns her glance to the book. I think it's safe to say she was fairly concerned about Makina too, in her way. It's about 10 minutes after this little scene when the girl finally wakes up. Her eyes blink open in my bed, where I tossed her soundly slumbering body as a temporary measure, and quickly find the large sack of melon buns sitting next to her pillow. Squirming out of the bed, she grabs the bag and scampers off to distribute them to the other residents of the dorm. Amane and Sachi express their heartfelt thanks in voices choked with tears. Michiru offers, "Well, I don't dislike melon buns," managing to convey sincere gratitude despite the standard veneer of arrogance. Oh my god, Michiru. Even Sakaki softly closes her book with a quiet, "I see," stares Makina straight in the face and says, "I'll accept that gratefully then. And proceeds to dig into the pastry right then and there. I'm honestly a little surprised at first, but come to think of it, I guess that's sort of her style. In summary, Makina's first day of part-time work, the subject of so much angst and anxiety, has come to a peaceful conclusion. And that evening, Sakaki graciously allows Makina and Amane to take the first bath. The moment the girl's out, she runs down to the lobby where I've been waiting for my turn. Then drops herself onto my lap with a solid thump and turns to face the television set.
風見さんの膝の上はもうすっかりマキちゃんの指定席になってしまいましたね。
As I answer Sachi's teasing comment with a wry smile, Makina grabs the remote control from the table. She then flips to the channel for her favorite show. Is it more Tuna Fish Man? Chuckling softly, Sachi places a glass of diluted Calpis in front of Makina, then makes a swift exit. Probably gone off to tidy up the mess Makina made in the bath before Sakaki takes her turn. The girl really is quite the attentive servant. Just as Sachi's disappearing up the stairs, Amane enters the lobby in the process of removing her apron.
なんかさ、そうしてると本当の親子みたいよ。
For her part, the way Amane is striking up conversation with freshly washed tableware in her hands is also oddly domestic. She's the very image of a housewife. Do I look that old? Let's go with siblings instead.
なんつうの、妙に老成しているあんたと年齢の割に育ちの悪いマキナ、その辺のギャップが原因じゃないかな。
Oh, darn whippersnappers! Always getting onto my lawn! Go out here, kids! Get off my dang lawn! Oh, God. Gotta stretch again. Oh. With this pronouncement, Amane heads back to her room with a stack of clean plates. What are you calling crotchety, punk? In the first place, it's not like I've experienced the world thoroughly enough to start passing judgment on whippersnappers. Surely Makina's unusually childish behavior is the more relevant factor. A good case in point? The girl's currently guzzling down a sweet, milky drink, mesmerized by the glow of the television screen, completely oblivious to the world around her. It occurs to me that if you cut out this one moment in time, it'd look like a pretty happy little game of house. Honestly, I'm startled at my own behavior. Even though I understand that this is ultimately nothing more than a make-believe game, I can't help surrendering myself to its lukewarm comforts.
Papa! Dave 教授始まったよ!
Who the hell's Professor Dave? Ah, so it is. What's the good professor doing battle with today? The professor in question is the host of the American documentary show Professor Dave's Amazing Animals, a man by the name of David McAllister. This fearless individual apparently puts his life on the line on a weekly basis to provide his audience with reports on various dangerous animals. A formula that's proved highly popular with his audience of bloodthirsty children.
Yeah, kids たち、今日の特集は先週予告したようにサメの特集だ。
Ah, yes, the shark. Nature's perfect killer. Clad stylishly in the tough survival gear of a seasoned adventurer, a Hawaiian shirt and cargo shorts, Professor Dave strides confidently along a beach, telling the kids in front of their TV sets all about sharks in a cheerful, enthusiastic monologue, periodically interrupted by voiceovers that seem to be strategically covering up some overly frank observations.
近年、餌場の問題でサメが海水浴場に姿を見せることも珍しいことではなくなった。 せっかくの楽しいサマーバカンスがサメのせいで台無しになったら大変だ。そこで今日の僕はテレビの前のキッズがサメに噛まれた時の対処法を実験するためにここシャークワールドセンターにやってきたのさ。
Hit him in the gills. I believe that's the best thing to do with the shark is hit him on the gills. That'll disorient them enough. They say to hit him on the nose, but do you really want your hand that close to their fucking mouth? No. The nose? I'm not gonna look that up. Getting a lot of mixed signals here. Okay, a thing in 2005 in the New York Times says hitting him on the nose is not gonna work if you plan on wanting to get away, I guess. But then again, I got stuff from like 2019 that says hit him in the nose or the eyes or stick your hand in his gills. Let's see, what does people on Quora say here? Short answer, not really. Hitting a shark in the nose can make it release you if attacked, and if it isn't a large shark. The 3 shark species that are blamed for attacks on humans are either over average in size to extremely large. So if not the nose, where? Simple, hit it in the gills. When you hit a shark in their gills, it's equivalent to us humans being punched in the lung. Their gills are extremely sensitive. Showing your fingers in their eyes is good too, but not as good as the gills. Alright. Okay, hitting in the nose actually work? Absolutely it does! In theory! The problem is, you're probably not going to get the chance to do it. Or if you do, it'll be after the damage has already been done. Almost never is a shark going to come at you head-on and try to pick a fight, except maybe a silver tip, but even that would probably be territorial behavior, not hunting. Sharks won't have been around so long if they were that stupid. When a shark decides to taste test you, they will make a go for below, the side, or behind when you're unawares. So it minimizes the chances the shark gets hurt on approach, by, for example, a human decking them on the nose. Also, sharks actually have a reflex to open their mouth when they're bumped on the nose. Not surprising, because they their mouth and nose are the point of first contact. In an ideal world, punching a shark on the gills is a much better idea. Still, a hit on the nose is better than nothing in a pinch. Fair enough. Shark flip? Not shark flip-flops. Damn it, Google, stop trying to... Okay, that's exactly what I think it is. I've seen that, how someone was able to actually make the shark, you know, somehow turn around on its back in the water and just be, you know, mostly safe. Yeah, I've heard of that. It's a very interesting thing. It's just it being turned upside down screws it up that it's just kind of essentially it's immobilized. Weirdly. Don't ask me. I don't know who was the first person to figure that out. You also have to ask, how did people know you could milk cows and actually drink their milk and it's good for you? Was some sick bastard just out there sucking on a cow's teats and then tried to justify it later? And that's where dairy comes from. Behind Professor Dave, equipped for his mission with flip-flops and a straw hat, an image of a large building appears with the words Shark World Center in bold red letters. A voiceover informs us that the center is an institution that looks after injured sharks who find their way into shallow coastal waters, helping them to heal and return to the sea. Soon, the scene switches to Dave peering down into a massive water tank, where a great white shark that appears to be a good 5 meters in length quietly glides to and fro. Great white sharks do not do well in captivity at all. I'm amazed this thing is still alive inside this tank. Yeah, great whites do not last inside tanks. You'll never see a great white shark in an aquarium. I can't remember what the longest one managed to be in there was for. The longest a great white was held in captivity was 44 days in an outdoor tank. Apparently. But then again, now they're saying something else. Alright, never mind. Okay, the longest one has been in captivity was 198 days. But it wasn't easy. Yeah, only one aquarium was able to successfully have a great white shark in captivity. Because they all just kind of die. They do not do well in captivity at all. Oh yeah, the only reason apparently he was able to stay in there because it was a smaller one. Oh, and they only released it because it attacked other sharks in there. Nice. Yeah, the reason everyone theorizes, at least right now, why great whites don't do well and die in captivity very quickly is because they're like nomads. They travel wherever for long periods of time, but keeping them confined in a small area, I guess, like, drives anxiety or something up in them, and they just die. So yeah, they do not do well. They were lucky, I guess, to get that one to last nearly 200 days. One, because it was so young, and two, they tried to, they made it like the largest tank they actually had. So yeah, you'll see other sharks in captivity. They do fine. It's the great whites that just can't. They're just by their actual nature of being nomads. They're just nomadic. They travel wherever for long periods of time. They take random sharp turns of places they go. They don't have like a set area they'll stay in. They just go wherever and whenever. And as always, Professor Dave starts saying some crazy shit. Every time I watch this show, I end up thinking, isn't anyone gonna stop this guy? This week is no exception, as Dave promptly leaps into the shark tank with a bleeding raw carcass of a cow clutched to his chest.
デイブすげえ、超すげえよデイブ。あれは真似できないのよさ。
Yeah, let's not try. As if on cue, a disingenuous warning clearly inserted by some long-suffering network lawyer flashes across the bottom of the screen. Hey kids, never try this at home. That's a promise from Professor Dave. Then again, I sort of feel like any kid stupid enough to try and imitate this stunt should be firmly roped to a hospital bed in the first place. Holy hell. If only we had... Is anyone gonna stop him with Crocodile Hunter? Okay, that was just a tragedy that had happened. He's been around so many other animals and stuff like that before. That was just an absolute tragedy. I think especially what did him in, what they say is because he pulled it out afterward, too. It got him in the heart, and then he pulled it out, so now it's just, yeah. That was an absolute tragedy that had happened. The man was around crocodiles and every other kind of crazy, dangerous animal his whole life, essentially. He did that for entertainment. And to teach people stuff, too. Like, yeah. Yeah, everyone misses Steve Irwin. But hey, his kids are essentially taking up where he left off. They're 100% into that stuff. They very much took after their father. Seconds after Dave hits the water, the great white slowly turns its massive head in the direction of the bloody carcass, then begins to steadily hone in on the smell. The professor holds out the slab of raw meat to the approaching predator, who promptly takes a violent bite, beginning the experiment. Yep. Professor Dave demonstrates by launching a vigorous rain of blows on the thrashing... each thyoid? I don't know. His hearty battle cries partially drowned out by a series of electronic bleeps. Soon enough, he's beaten the beast into ignominious retreat. This show's as over the top as ever. But in the man's defense, Professor Dave's Amazing Animals isn't just selling cheap thrills. The latter half of the program always transitions to a serious, emotional animal story of some sort. In fact, you could call the extreme experiments in the first part of the show bait Dave uses to get the kids' attention, with the real heart of the program coming in the latter half. Even the professor, currently flashing a cheerful victory sign to the screen, puts aside his cocky persona in the second half of the program, talking gently with an earnest expression on his face. The mini documentary this week tells the story of a fawn that lost his parents at a young age. The camera traces the animal's struggle to get by on its own after its mother and father were eaten by lions. But in the end, it too dies, never having been taught the skills necessary to survive. Fairly harsh stuff, really. Still clenching the empty glass of Calpis in one stubby little hand, Makina stares intently at the screen, watching the little deer's final moments so quietly she almost seems to be holding her breath.
ねえパパ
You're gonna compare yourself to the fawn, aren't you? What?
パパは私を残して死んじゃったりしないよね
All of a sudden, the cheerful girl on my lap is hanging her head miserably, fat tears rolling over her cheeks. They're not tears of pity for the doomed fawn on the television set. They're the selfish, fearful tears of a child, comparing her own circumstances to those of that starving, lonely animal.
パパは死んだりしないよね
She repeats the words, her quavering voice pressing me for an answer. It's not like I can possibly guarantee that. No matter what I promise the girl today, I'll die when it's my time to die. And yet... Don't worry. I won't die. From what I read in those documents, Makina saw her own father die before her eyes when she was just a child. So I have no choice but to speak these words. Even if they're groundless, irresponsible lies, there's just nothing else I can do. Do I look like I'm gonna kick the bucket that easily? I'll keep you safe, and I won't die no matter what. You have my word on that.
本当に
Yeah, that's a promise. Oh. But the words alone don't seem enough to earn her trust. Makina gulps down a big, shuddering breath and bites her lower lip, the tears still sliding down her face. Come on, seriously? How do I get you to stop crying?
ねチューしてくれたら泣き止むかも
Crafty little twerp. Where the hell did she pick that up? Wait. As if I really have to ask. Turned my eyes upward in disgust, trying to burn a hole through the ceiling to where Amane's no doubt humming obliviously and putting away her dishes. Alright, Makina. Close your eyes. Bruh, just kiss her on the cheek or on the forehead. Standing the girl in front of me, I wait for her eyes to fall shut, then grab her firmly around the ears with both hands, and bite vigorously into her head. What the fuck? Okay then. Men are all wolves. Play around too much and you'll get eaten right up. My point made, I resumed grinding my teeth against Makina's scalp.
助けてデイブそうかロレンチにビタこれでもくらえ
Oh no, our nose. Even as I gnaw away at her cranium, Makina flings up her arms in desperate resistance. Poorly developed as she may be, the girl isn't a child. And although she obviously wasn't intending a full-force attack, one punch just so happens to land nicely on the bridge of my nose. Ow! Damn it! You little punk! Remove Makina from the situation. Put somebody else here. We A-okay.
何やってんのよ
Speaking
あんた
of.
たち
Is your vision going already? We're playing the Men Are All Wolves game, obviously.
なんでマキナの服脱がしてんのよ
Oh my god. Why are you actually taking off her clothes, Yuji? Because I'm a wolf.
そして私は哀れな子羊だからだ
Submit!
God fucking damn it. Thank you, Nick. Oh my god.
どんなルール
I don't know, you want in on this? You can be the new lamb.
チルチルもやるかやらないわよ私まだお風呂入ってないし
Well, I mean, we're gonna make it easier, so you can just hop right in.
おほんじゃお風呂出た後ならオッケーってこ
Oh
と
my god.
別にそういう意味じゃないしつうかなんで私がそんなレイプごっこに付き合わなきゃいけないわけ結構ドキドキすんぞ
Oh my god.
でもそのいいわよあんたら二人で勝手にやってなさいよ
Oh my god.
私はお風呂に入るのやつはなんで急に顔真っ赤にして怒ってんだ意味がわからん
An embarrassing situation as she kind of maybe was interested, but didn't want to admit it because tsundere. Hey, you like what you like. Don't ask me. Maybe that's just how tsunderes are.
めんどくせえのなツンデレ
I have to agree with you there. That was really fucking random that they were doing, by the way. Really out of nowhere, just started gnawing on her. Like, what the this game, man. This fucking game. By the time our little routine finally winds down, the hour hands crawled past 10. Makina keeps watching television for a while after Professor Dave signs off. But soon enough, she's nodded off in my lap. Her soft body, now completely slack against mine, is weirdly warm as always. Wish that girl could turn down her body temperature a little. Hold on to her too long and you end up overheated.
あれマキナ寝ちゃった
Oh yeah, it's after 10 o'clock. Yeah. Guess I'll go carry her to the room and dump her in bed. When I lift Makina up off me, her head flops over like an infant's, limbs dangling down like the feelers of some shropped jellyfish. Ah, damn it. Girl's too damn limp. Can't get a decent grip.
マキナは子供の頃バレエを習っていたらしいからそれが原因じゃない
Ballet? I guess it's not surprising that the daughter of a filthy rich family might get a few lessons. Actually, Makina's a lot more agile and quick on her feet than you might expect. If she was trained in ballet as a kid, that might more or less explain it. Whoops. As I finally managed to hoist Makina up into my arms in the classic bridal carry, one of her stubby little hands clutches tightly at my shirt. Seems to be an unconscious reflex, since the girl herself is still thoroughly out of it.
掴まれちゃったね。それ、下手すると30分は話してもらえないわよ。無理やり引き剥がそうとすると泣き出すし。
Oh boy. Fantastic. Guess I don't have any choice but to stay next to her until she falls asleep for real then.
そのまま一緒に寝ちゃえばいいんじゃない？
Can you not say things like that so casually? And while you're at it, do me a favor and stop teaching Makina weird crap.
ん？何のこと？
Girl tried this "I'll stop crying if you kiss me" number out on me. Sounded exactly like you, Amane.
いやーね、またそうやって人聞きの悪い。私は別に何も教えてないわよ。
Makina's brain is like a sponge, remember? Have to be careful, or she'll pick up that nonsense before you know it. What's so funny?
なんか本当に父親みたいね。
In what respect?
キスしてって言われて戸惑っちゃうところとか？
That was just a common sense reaction to the situation.
じゃあ私がキスしてって言ったらどうする？
Take out my wallet and ask how much. Oh my god! Bruh.
さすがの私もお金なんか取らないわよ。キスぐらいタダでさせてあげるのに。
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
もう育児なし。
It's worked out for me so far. I carry my floppy burden to Amane's room on the second floor and deposit her onto the bed. But just as I was warned, a good 30 minutes passed without Makina's death grip on my clothes weakening in the slightest. When the girl finally sinks into full-fledged sleep, her hand slips free. Seizing my chance, I quietly rise from her bedside and return to my room. God damn. I'm gonna stop there for today. Just because I kind of want to eat and possibly pack a little bit more. And then also I'm going out in a little bit too as well. But hey, a little bit here and there is good. Just getting that tiny bit farther. That's always. So, yeah, I mean, as you can see by the schedule, which is actually still the old schedule, I haven't, swapped this over yet. Let me get the updated one. There we go. So again, no stream tomorrow, or tonight, but on Friday, we will have, Grisaia in the morning, followed by Chroma Squad at night, just because Memory of Heroes is currently packed away in a box. And then Grisaia on Saturday morning, possibly. That's a day where I have to actually call in at 10 o'clock to see if they need me. If they do not need me, stream is being fired right up. It'll be tomorrow. I should get my work schedule for next week. So, yeah, by Friday, you guys will have my schedule made for next week for you guys to see. It's probably going to be a bit more Grisaia. And I've actually, because Gardantar's here, I did in fact download onto my computer now, Ices. I think I'll probably try that out next week as well. Just to get something new. Give it a shot. I did see your comment on YouTube. Don't worry. I did see it. So yeah, we'll give that one a shot next week for sure. Just to see how it is, and well, new game. I have absolutely nothing about it. Especially with me having locked away all my physical games that I'm currently playing. Well, that's okay. This next little bit might be a little bit of experimentation. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. So, thanks everyone, for watching, commenting, and lurking. I appreciate it very, very much. I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.